creepy and cool TikToks that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
This man received a vision from God that the world will end in a matter of weeks. And he is trying to save us all by building an ark. Bro, and if he is right, we have not learnt from the first time. Because people are trolling him hard in the comments. Ibo Noah was told by God to build a number of boats to save people from the flood 2.0, which he was told would happen on December the 25th this year. And months later, he has now built 8 arcs. That includes 250,000 panels of wood and is capable of holding 5,000 people each. Now, fortunately, there is some hope for us that don't live in Ghana, because Ibo Noah said that anyone from around the world can come and join him as long as they have a covenant with God. In fact, he says that one of his arcs will be able to hold 600 million people. Don't ask about the math, okay? Bro's a builder, not a calculator. Now, this has divided some people online. Some people admire his faith, and he now has 200,000 followers on TikTok, while others are trolling him pretty hard, asking him to do things like install sockets to charge their phones. And I mean, we all know how that ended last time. So the question is, are we all meeting in Ghana this Christmas, or?
You know, God literally promised to not flood the world again.
The craziest thing revealed in the Diddy documentary is what he did after Biggie passed away. Diddy wanted to throw Biggie the biggest, most extravagant funeral that New York had ever seen. And that's what he did. Everyone in New York showed up to that funeral. But the co-founder of Bad Boys, Kirk Burrows, claims that Diddy allegedly made the funeral a recoupable charge to Biggie in his death after he saw how much it was going to cost. Throughout the documentary, there are multiple times where Diddy calls Biggie one of his closest friends, his best friend, and even one of the only people that he's ever trusted. So he gets everyone in New York to come together to celebrate Biggie's life, and it makes him look like this great guy. But he forgets to mention that the royalties that Biggie was making posthumously is what was paying for the funeral. And what's even more fucked up is what happens next. Biggie was slated to be on the next cover of Rolling Stone magazine until Diddy made a call to pull the cover so that he could take Biggie's spot to promote his solo album No Way Out that was going to come out soon after. And there's still more. Before Biggie passed away, he was negotiating a new contract with Bad Boy, and they gave him everything he wanted. After he passed, Diddy allegedly asked his business partner to change some of the terms after Biggie had already signed it without his mom or family knowing, so that they would be more favorable for Bad Boy. Kirk, the co-founder, said that that wasn't right and he wouldn't do it, and 9 months later he was fired. Meanwhile, Diddy is becoming a rock star, dancing on national television with Sting as a tribute to his best friend.
Yeah, I've seen the documentary. It's on Netflix, folks. Diddy is crazy. Like, Bad Boy, not a good guy.
Everything's gone. Just everything's gone. Yeah, everything's gone. Even my lighter and my deodorant. I was having so much fun with them. Best night ever.
Did he just say best night ever?
When Navy SEALs face life or death situations, they use a 30-second technique that instantly stops anxiety. Stanford neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Huberman calls it the most powerful stress relief tool in your body. This technique activates your vagus nerve, the master control switch between your brain and every organ. But here's what makes this different from every breathing exercise you've tried. It works in seconds, not minutes, and the science proves it. Your autonomic nervous system has 2 modes: sympathetic, fight or flight, and parasympathetic, rest and digest. Modern life keeps you trapped in sympathetic overdrive. Chronic stress, anxiety, high blood pressure, sleep issues, digestive problems. The cost is staggering. Research shows 77% of adults regularly experience physical symptoms caused by stress. The American Institute of Stress reports that stress-related health issues cost the U.S. economy $300 billion annually in medical bills and lost productivity. Heart disease, immune suppression, cognitive decline. Why conventional solutions don't work. Meditation apps promise calm after 20 minutes of practice. Breathing exercises require quiet spaces. Therapy takes months. But when you're in a high-stress meeting, stuck in traffic, or experiencing a panic attack, you need immediate relief. The hidden neuroscience. Your vagus nerve is the master switch between stress and calm, connecting your brainstem to your heart, lungs, and gut. Stimulate it correctly, and you trigger an instant physiological response in seconds. The military discovered this. Special forces operators are trained in vagus stimulation because it works when nothing else does. The vagus nerve is the longest cranial nerve in your body, running from your brainstem through your neck to your abdomen. The name comes from the Latin word for wandering, because it touches nearly every major organ. Dr. Stephen Porges, neuroscientist who developed polyvagal theory, explains that the vagus nerve controls 75% of your parasympathetic nervous system. When activated, it slows your heart rate, lowers blood pressure, improves digestion, and signals your brain that you're safe. Here's what research reveals. A study published in Frontiers in Psychology found that vagus nerve stimulation reduces cortisol, your stress hormone, by 31% within minutes.
Wow.
Military performance studies show SEAL training protocols using vagus stimulation improve decision-making under pressure by 47% and reduce panic responses during high-stress scenarios. The physiological markers are measurable.
Box breathing, folks. Oxygen is your friend.
Police in Australia on an early morning raid, breaking down a door in a Sydney suburb and arresting the alleged 26-year-old ringleader of a group accused of being engaged in some of the most depraved criminal activity imaginable.
Police will allege in court that this international group were engaging in conversations and the sharing of material which depicted child abuse and the torture of children, involving symbols and rituals linked to Satanism and the occult.
A crackdown on an alleged international satanic child sex abuse material ring. In all, police arrested 4 men in and around Sydney, seizing multiple devices.
Police will allege in court that the initial examination of those devices has discovered thousands of videos depicting the abuse of live children aged between babies and 12 years of age. Amongst these deplorable images were also a number of videos depicting the sexual abuse of animals.
The suspects have all been charged with multiple counts of accessing or possessing child abuse content. They've been denied bail and are expected to next appear in court in late January. Australian authorities call the distribution of child abuse content a borderless crime that's growing thanks to the internet. They're working with other international law enforcement to help identify and rescue children shown in the seized content.
Babies, those people are demons.
Have y'all seen that girl who's supposedly a real-life mermaid? She's blowing up on TikTok right now. Here's her account. She's doing literally everything she can to prove she's an actual mermaid. Every single one of her videos looks super weird and low-key creepy, but they're racking up millions of views. Some are already past 6 million. In one clip, she says she's out near Point Nemo, the most remote spot in the entire ocean, the place that's literally farther from any human than astronauts on the ISS are from land. In that video, she showed her scales, and I gotta be honest, it looked pretty damn convincing. In another one, she showed some weird patch of skin, but the scariest part came next. She posted a new video showing the mermaid scales again, ran her hand across them, and actual scales started peeling off like nothing. Underneath was this thick, real-looking skin. A ton of people still don't buy it and swear it's just a costume or editing, and they keep asking the obvious. How does a mermaid even have a phone to film all this? How did she make a TikTok account and upload videos from the middle of the ocean? So what do you guys think?
Yeah, how did she buy a phone?
If this isn't revelation happening before our eyes, I don't know what is.
A new AI-powered superintelligence is being built. Engineers claim it will be wiser, faster, and smarter than any human being ever created.
In the book of Revelation, John describes something he saw in a vision. He said he saw a man-made image come to life, speaking and giving orders, and here's what most people miss. The word for image in the original Greek is icon, E-I-K-O-N. In the first century, the Greek word icon didn't mean a picture. It meant instead a statue, a carved figure, or a lifelike representation of a person, often used in temples and idol worship. So if John were seeing something that looked like an AI-powered robot or a living replica, icon is exactly the word he would have used. But it gets even more intense. Revelation says the false prophet is the one who gives the power to the icon. And this icon in John's vision gives the order for those who refuse to worship the beast to be killed. Then the false prophet will force everyone to take the mark of the beast, which will control who can and cannot buy or sell. And we know that that technology is already in place. So Revelation 13 shows a global leader, a global enforcer, and a speaking lifelike icon. Something that sounds very similar to AI-driven robotics all working together in the last days. I had AI write the prompts for these video clips, and then I asked it if it thought Revelation 13 was referring to AI, and this is what it said.
The most reasonable conclusion is this. If Revelation is describing actual future technology, then AI is almost certainly part of what John saw. He saw a human-made figure given animated power, speaking with intelligence, commanding the world, enforcing compliance, and integrating with a global economic system. That describes AI far more than any ancient imagery. AI isn't just part of it. AI is the only technology that fully matches what John described.
Let me know what you think in the comments and follow for more Christian content.
I believe truly that we're in the last days. Jesus is coming soon for his church.
Watch this.
The one thing I absolutely love is being able to show people and teach people interesting facts about an elephant. So I've actually got one trying to take my hat off. He's just taking my hat. But guys, have a look at this. Have a look at this foot here. So an elephant on his front foot has got 4 toes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on his back foot, it's got 3. And have a look at the shape difference. Oh, he's doing my hat back. Thanks, boy. Guys, these are the unique opportunities you get volunteering on iMary.
Elephants' trunks are some of the most impressive things in the animal kingdom, and that's because they are made up of over 40,000 muscles, and what that allows them to do is see the videos like where they're ripping down branches from a tree. They can do that, or they can pick up a single blade of grass with that same trunk. And what's neat is when an elephant acts like this, like the way he's acting in this clip, where he's completely comfortable and grabbing the guy's hat, and it seems like he's kind of being playful, that only comes when an elephant is completely comfortable around the humans that they're around. So these elephant experts are, it takes them months and even years to develop these relationships with these elephants. Seeing this, you can tell that the elephant is completely comfortable around them, because elephants aren't just like this normally, especially in the wild. But when they do become comfortable, a lot of them get kind of playful, kind of like you're seeing here. It doesn't seem like he's doing this as like he wants to eat the hat. It seems like he's doing it just to play around with the guy, and then he hands the hat back at the end, and it's all good. So it's just really interesting how elephants are very human-like in a way of where when they trust someone, they act completely different.
God is amazing.
In 79 AD, deep under Rome's loudest arena, a 19-year-old Dian girl named Sabina stood chained up in a pitch-black cell. Above her, 50,000 Romans were roaring like a storm, celebrating the gladiator who had just killed her brothers. What happened to her over the next 3 hours became one of the most aggressively covered-up practices in Roman history, a ritual so brutal that even Rome's own historians argued about whether they should mention it at all. This is the story Roman senators tried to erase from the record, the so-called reward that could turn a victorious fighter into someone who could pretty much do whatever he wanted once those gates slammed shut. Before we get into what went down in those underground rooms, hit that like button if you've ever wondered what actually happened after the crowd walked out. Subscribe, because once you hear this, you'll never look at ancient Rome the same way again. Drop a comment. Did Roman entertainment go way too far, or was this just the ugly price of running an empire? What you're about to hear comes straight from Cassius Dio's accounts, backed up by 2018 excavations under the Colosseum, and supported by Senate documents found in the Vatican archives. This isn't myth. These were events Rome labeled as sport, the real world behind the arena of blood. Across the empire in the 1st century AD, the Colosseum wasn't just a building. It was Rome's monument to domination. Finished only a year earlier in 80 AD, it was huge enough to swallow entire armies. The air always reeked of metal, sweat, and animal stench. And the sand covering the arena floor, It wasn't for decoration, it was there to soak up whatever poured out of dying fighters and wild beasts.
Rome was always wicked.
Legend has it that every time an angel appears to a human, the very first words out of the angel's mouth are always the same. Be
Not afraid.
afraid. But here's the part that people don't exactly realize. The angel isn't saying it to comfort you. It's a warning, because what you're actually looking at would literally shatter your mind if you saw it without that preparation. The thing is, we have paintings, we have sculptures, and we have centuries of art showing us what angels look like. Beautiful beings with soft wings and glowing halos. Those paintings are lies. Real biblical angels, well, they're cosmic horror. They're being so utterly other that human consciousness almost can't process them. Multiple faces, infinite eyes that cover their entire bodies, wheels made of fire rotating through dimensions, wings that move in impossible geometric patterns, bodies made of pure celestial light that would incinerate anything unworthy of standing in their presence. When the prophets saw them, they didn't say, "Oh, how beautiful." They fell on their faces in absolute terror and begged not to be destroyed. And this is what biblically accurate angels actually are. So in the book of Ezekiel, the prophet encounters an angel and describes it like this: a being covered in eyes. Not eyes on a face, eyes covering every inch of its body. Multiple faces pointing in different directions. Wheels within wheels covered in more eyes. Wings that move in perfect synchronization with the rings, which rotate in all directions simultaneously, creating a hypnotic, impossible geometry of movement and perception. Ezekiel saw one and fell on his face in horror. This is the Ophanim, the throne angels. They're the chariot bearers of God, the highest order of celestial beings in Jewish mysticism. Their name means the watchers, and they exist to observe all of creation simultaneously. Every eye represents awareness. They see past, present, and future all at once. They perceive dimensions we can't even conceptualize. But that's just one type of angel. Then there are the seraphim, the six-winged burning ones. Isaiah encounters them in the temple, and they're so radiant, so incandescent with divine fire that the very foundation of the building shakes. Their wings are described as burning with holiness, not metaphorically burning, literally wreathed in celestial flame that purifies and annihilates anything unworthy of God's presence. The seraphim are the closest beings to God in the celestial hierarchy, and when they move through heaven, reality warps around them. And when Isaiah saw him, he immediately cried out that he was unworthy and that his lips were unclean. And then there were the cherubim. Depicted in popular culture as chubby babies, but the actual biblical cherubim are warriors. They're portrayed as having multiple bodies, multiple faces, sometimes described as having a lion's face, an ox's face, an eagle's face, and a human face all in the same creature. They have enormous wings that span rooms. They carry flaming swords, and when God places them at the gates of Eden after humanity's expulsion, they're there to annihilate anyone who tries to return, not to gently shoo people away. The cherubim are God's enforcers, divine soldiers. And then there are the standard angels. They're what we'd recognize more readily, like Gabriel or Michael, but even these aren't how we imagine them. When Gabriel appears to Mary in Luke's Gospel, the very first thing he says is, "Do not be afraid," because his mere presence, his celestial form, is so overwhelming that Mary is terrified. Gabriel has to spend the first moments of the encounter calming her down before he can even deliver his message. Now, Michael the Archangel is described as a cosmic warrior, leading God's army against Satan's forces. In Revelation, a war breaks out in heaven. Michael and his angels fighting the dragon and his angels. The description is apocalyptic, violent, and cosmic. Michael isn't gentle. He's militant. He's the embodiment of divine will made manifest. So here's what makes biblically accurate angels so mystically profound. They exist in a completely different mode of being than humans do. They operate outside of normal physics. They perceive reality differently with infinite eyes from infinite angles, seeing what cannot be seen. They're beings of pure light and fire made of celestial substance that exists partially outside of our three-dimensional space. So when humans see them, not in paintings but really encounter them, the consistent reaction is terror followed by awe. The angels have to tell people, be not afraid, because human consciousness almost can't process what it's witnessing. It's too much, too real, too powerful, and too other. In Jewish mysticism, an angel is an emanation of God's name, literally a manifestation of divine attributes given form and agency. And when an angel appears, you're not meeting a servant of God. You're encountering a piece of God's will made visible in a form consciousness can almost handle. Now, the Kabbalists understood this. They taught that to truly perceive an angel is to come close to perceiving God itself. The light is blinding. The presence is overwhelming. The intelligence is inhuman and absolute. And most people have it backwards. We've sentimentalized angels, made them cute and safe and manageable, but the real biblical angels are the opposite. They're the edge where human consciousness meets infinity, where the finite touches the infinite, and the experience is so intense that it truly breaks people. So when the Bible says fear God, it means fear this. Fear being so far beyond human comprehension that they literally glow with power, covered in eyes that see everything, moving through dimensions that we can't access, emanating such pure divine force that they have to calm humans down just to prevent our minds from breaking. That's the mystical reality. Not clouds and not harps, but cosmic watchers, celestial warriors, and beings of pure manifestation made from the substance of divinity itself. So the next time you see a cute cherub painting in church, remember what you're actually looking at. A warrior covered in faces, with a flaming sword, standing guard at the gates of paradise. Now, if you want to explore more about the hidden nature of spiritual entities and biblical mysticism, make sure to like the video, let me know what you think about these biblically accurate angels in the comments below, and follow for more deep dives like this. Till next time.
And the crazy thing is, we all will meet them one day.
The last 24 hours have been insane. Despite Stranger Things 5 literally breaking records on Netflix, it is now dropped to the number 2 spot after the Diddy documentary was released just 2 days ago. And Diddy himself is pissed. He even sent a cease and desist letter to Netflix saying that the footage they obtained of him was illegal. I mean, pretty ironic coming from Diddy. Talking about people in the Diddyverse, never seen before footage was released of Epstein's Island. And as you'd expect, very creepy. There's even one picture of a dentist chair surrounded by masks of men on the wall. And also a whiteboard with the words power, deception, political, etc. I mean, what even is this shit? Huh? Some creep brainstorming session? And what the hell have they blocked out? Also, don't know how many of you believe in vampires, but a British teenager has gone missing near Dracula's castle. Yes, the Dracula's castle in Transylvania, Romania. 18-year-old George Smith went hiking alone in the mountains but has not been seen since the 23rd of November. That's coming close to 2 weeks. And despite this, no one knows where he went or what's happened to him. Speaking of search and rescue missions, Malaysian authorities are resuming their search for the flight HS370 11 years after it mysteriously disappeared with 239 people on board. Now, they're actually partnering with an American marine robotics company, Ocean Infinity, to scan the ocean bed over a 55-day period. And lastly, Australia have officially begun removing under 16s from social media. Bro, and the ban only comes into effect next week, but they are just raring to go. In fact, Meta are starting early with reports of kids' accounts being deactivated in the country. But, they did say that you can download and preserve your social media account so that when you do turn 16, you can just get right back to it.
Let me know how you feel about this in the comments, folks.
Yesterday, I did a very brief video talking about the drones and what I think is personally going on. And today, we're going to dig a little deeper. Now, again, I want to solidify the fact that alien just means demon. This narrative that you and I have been told, this extraterrestrial from another planet narrative, is just because they can't say demon that is interdimensional. Satan controls our government. He controls our world, and he can't have the entire world know that demons exist, because then that would mean that he exists, and he can't have everybody know that he exists, because then that would mean that God exists. Now, demons are disembodied spirits. They are looking for a house to live in. They are like parasites looking for a host. In the book of Matthew, it says, then it goes and takes with it 7 other spirits more wicked than itself, which also indicates that there's levels of evil to different demons. And they go in and live there. And the final condition of that person is worse than the first. So if we take all of this logic and apply it to our world, right? First, we know that we are in the last seconds of the last days. Satan knows his time is short. So evil is ramping up. Demons have access, of course, to satanic technology that is beyond our comprehension. And of course, this even goes back to the ancient Egyptian lowercase g gods that were worshipped. They had this Nephilim technology, all these portals, these stargates, and they built these pyramids, and they had technology that we did not. So if we take all of that and apply it to what is going on right in front of our eyes, things start to make a lot more sense.
Energy and all these ideas, and then people just let them do these things.
Because I'm an alien.
That's what I've speculated.
Yes.
I'm on record saying this in the past. I wonder.
It's true.
I mean, if there was one, I was like, if there was like maybe an intelligent being that we created, you know, like some AI creature that's superior to people, maybe we'd just hang around with us for a little while like you've been doing.
People believe that you are an alien.
I am an alien.
You are. Please, now you are uncovered.
Yes. I keep telling people I'm an alien, but nobody believes me.
So many people would say that he's just joking. Well, to that, I would say first, the amount of time.
Man, I love her. Keep up all the hard work you've been doing. God bless.
Up, I swallowed the lie. The transatlantic trade was all white villainy, stripped of its global filth. But reality, Dahome's Yevogan taxing every sale, Zanzibar's markets flogging 50,000 souls a year, free blacks like William Ellison owning dozens of slaves.
Jack was unlike the others. He didn't want to reach space. He wanted to touch the divine. He studied alchemy, the occult, and writings of Aleister Crowley, a man known as the wickedest man in the world. To Jack, science and magic weren't enemies. They were two of the same cosmic coin. He believed rocket fuel could be a kind of modern alchemy, transforming something greater, breaking free from Earth, and maybe even...
What's his name? Jack Parson. Yeah, perform sex magic.
Darkness in the world is coming from Paris, France. What's up? My name is Phoenix and I can see into the spirit realm. If you don't know me, God has given me the ability to be able to see into the spirit realm. I have this ability just like Ezekiel, Daniel, Elijah, and John all had in the Bible, as well as Amos. With this gifting, God shows me a lot of the things specifically concerning the entire world. And something that's been coming up for the past year is Paris. If you guys have followed me for a while, you've seen I've made a couple of videos of this touching on this subject before, but God has really been putting it on my heart that he really wants me to share this message specifically. I've prayed on this endlessly and have gotten so many confirmations from him that it would be very foolish of me and blatantly disobedient if I did not share this anymore. So pretty much God always shows me that for whatever reason, Paris is the head of the kingdom of darkness in this world at this time. Multiple times he's shown me visions of the entire world being covered by this dark evil cloud. And it's the same darkness and the same energy as Satan whenever I've seen him. He's like this massive black dragon. I've had so many dreams and visions of this giant black serpent, Satan, in Paris, underground somewhere. If you know, Paris is famous for its catacombs. In a lot of these dreams and visions, God shows me this stream or this beam of darkness just coming up from Paris and just spreading out to cover the entire world. And in all of these dreams, all this darkness is always spreading from Paris. He's shown me repeatedly that Paris is the head of Satan's kingdom of darkness here on this world. Don't know exactly why he wanted me to share this right now, but this is something that he's just really been pressing on me that I have to get out to the masses and his body of Christ. If you guys have any insight on what is going on in Paris or France, please comment it below. I have yet to go to Paris or France, but I know that that time is coming soon when God is going to call me there to finally see what is actually going on there spiritually. But as of right now, I know nothing besides the dreams and visions he's repeatedly shown me. So as always, God bless you guys.
All right.
So I wasn't sure I was going to share this because my goal on here is to never strike fear. My goal on here is to bring communities together, start conversations, learn from one another, respect one another. But I feel like it's time that I share this story. Well, it's not a story. It's coming from the source and facts. But one of my very dear friends who I've kind of talked about on here before, who has shared some very important things that I've shared with all of you. He's a scientist. I shouldn't have said he, but yes, he's a scientist. He works with seismic activity. He works with a lot of different things that are in the science industry. I don't have to go in because I don't really want to tell too much about him. But he reached out to me about 2 weeks ago and was like, hey, my team and I have been tracking some seismic activity, and I think you should talk to your TikTok followers about this. So I didn't think I was going to do it because, I don't want to strike fear, and that's not my purpose. But now what I'm about to tell you is showing up on the news, like CNN, and also news reports out of London and Australia and all over the entire world, that in the coming months, There's predicted a mile-wide volcano that is in the Pacific Ocean that is expected to go off in the next coming months. Now, when he reached out to me, they have predicted it's going to be on June 5th. And this volcano that is potentially about to erupt will trigger over 10,000 earthquakes all over the entire globe in one day. Now, I don't know what else to do with this information, but he was very adamant that perhaps I should share this information with the people who follow me. Now, I don't know if you've seen the news reports. I saw the one on CNN, and the crazy thing is it was just a scrolling bar at the bottom, not even a main story. And I don't understand why 10,000 earthquakes happening in one day and a mile-wide volcano going off in the ocean is not a headline story. So, let me know.
The Ring of Fire.
The third entity is not a food chain in the traditional sense, but it is one of the most powerful, Starbucks. Its logo is the most obvious of all, yet millions of Christians carry its cup every day. They have put a siren, a demonic water spirit, on their merchandise. This is not a mermaid. The company's own website confirms it is a two-tailed siren from Norse mythology. A siren is a creature that lures sailors to their death with its enchanting song. It is a spirit of seduction, distraction, and destruction, and this company has placed this demon on every cup, every bag, every sign. It is a blatant display of witchcraft hiding in plain sight. It is an idol, an image that God's people are commanded to avoid. Exodus 24 says, "You shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the waters below." When you buy their coffee, you are funding a corporation that openly uses occult symbolism. But it's worse than that. You are entering into a covenant with the spirit represented by the siren. You are carrying its symbol with you. You are becoming a walking advertisement for a demon. You have brought an awful thing into your house, your car, your office. You wonder why you are battling with lustful thoughts. You wonder why you are so easily distracted from your purpose. You wonder why your finances are being shipwrecked. You are drinking from the siren's cup. You have been seduced by its enchanting aroma and worldly appeal. This is the spirit of Delilah, who seduced Samson and lulled him into a deep sleep so his anointing and strength could be stolen from him. And what is in the coffee? It is not just caffeine. There is a spiritual element. This corporation is known for its obsession with its brand and image, a form of worship. The entire process is a ceremony, and the final product is a potion designed to make you dependent. It's a form of liquid witchcraft that makes you feel sophisticated and worldly while draining you of your spiritual power. You can't pray without it. You can't function without it. You are not just addicted to a substance. You are in bondage to a spirit. I am not telling you that having coffee is a sin, but I am telling you that it is foolishness to drink from a cup that bears the image of a demon. In Deuteronomy 7:26, the Lord said, "Do not bring anything awful into your house, or you will be destroyed like it. Hate it completely, for it is set apart for destruction." Throw away their cups. Throw away their merchandise. Do not give your money to an organization that glorifies a spirit of seduction and death. Break the covenant you have made with this siren. Your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, not a dumping ground for demonic potions. Ask the Holy Spirit to cleanse you. You do not need a siren's brew to fulfill your calling. You need the fire of the Holy Ghost. The fourth chain we must address is KFC. The danger here is not simply the secret recipe, which is easily dismissed as a business tactic. The witchcraft here is far more subtle and ministers directly to the flesh in a way that wages war against your spirit. Their famous slogan says it all. It's finger-licking good. This is not just an advertisement. It is a spiritual declaration. It is a call to a sensual, carnal experience that elevates fleshly gratification above all else. The Bible is clear about the war between our spirit and our flesh. Galatians 5:17 warns, "For the flesh desires what is contrary to the spirit, and the spirit what is contrary to the flesh. They are in conflict with each other, so that you are not to do whatever you want." When you partake of KFC, you are not just eating chicken. You are making a covenant with your flesh. You are intentionally choosing to indulge a craving so powerful it demands a physical response, licking your fingers, an act of complete surrender to sensory pleasure. This act feeds the part of you that is hostile to God. Romans 8:7 says, "The mind governed by the flesh is hostile to God. It does not submit to God's law, nor can it do so." The true secret of the 11 herbs and spices is not just a flavor profile. It is a formula for addiction. It is a potion masterfully designed to create a craving that is difficult to resist, thereby strengthening the hold of the flesh over your spirit. It makes self-control and fasting more difficult. It dulls your spiritual senses by overstimulating your physical ones. Think of Esau, who sold his eternal birthright for a single meal. Genesis 25 describes how he came in from the field, famished, and cared for nothing but satisfying the immediate, desperate craving of his flesh. For a bowl of stew, he gave away his divine inheritance. KFC offers you that same transaction, a moment of intense, fleshly satisfaction in exchange for a weakening of your spiritual resolve and birthright. Number 5, Taco Bell. The fifth chain you must be wary of operates under the imagery of a bell. Taco Bell. The bell itself is a significant symbol. Bells in witchcraft and pagan rituals are used to invoke spirits, to call them into a ritual space. The constant ringing of this symbolic bell in their advertising is a spiritual invocation. It is calling on spirits of confusion and compromise. Furthermore, this chain is known for its late-night hours. The night is a time when spiritual activity, both divine and demonic, is heightened. The Bible says, "While men slept, the enemy came." This chain has positioned itself as an altar for the night, drawing people in when their spiritual defenses are down. They come seeking to satisfy a physical craving, but they leave with a spiritual attachment. They have eaten from a compromised altar. Their menu items have names that are nonsensical and chaotic. This is not an accident. Confusion is a hallmark of the demonic. They are literally feeding you a product of chaos and confusion. You must guard your spiritual gates. Do not eat from the table of compromise. Do not answer the call of the demonic bell. Your life in Christ is meant to be one of clear conviction, not of blurry mixture. Renounce the spirit of mixture. Number 6, Pizza Hut and Domino's.
Ooh.
The final chain is not one, but a category. The great pizza temples like Pizza Hut and Domino's. This one is perhaps the most insidious.
All right,
I'd say 80% of the food and drinks offered to us are products of companies affiliated with satanic organizations. Correct prayers are our shield.
Give you the latest on Christian news and what is happening in the world today. China just signed a $37 million deal to deploy industrial-grade humanoid robots at real border crossings. And these aren't just demo robots. These are the Walker S2 humanoids. They are built for 24/7 operation with automatic battery swapping. That's right. They can take their own battery pack out, swap it out with zero downtime. Their job is for crowd control, inspections, logistics, guiding travelers, surveillance, and government level enforcement. This is only one of many rollouts because China is expanding on what they call embodied AI across factories, public places, and even security. These robots don't tire, they don't question orders, and they do not have a conscience. Experts are even warning that this is the foundation of an AI-run enforcement system to replace human oversight. I want to give you relevant Christian news, not to scare you or put fear in you, but to warn you and to give an awareness of what is happening in the world today. If you feel the same way, please share this so the world can be informed of what is truly happening.
There's a temple.
The tribulation is going to be hell on earth.
In India that is one of the most confusing places I've ever seen where people describe its mass and like how it's made. It was carved out of a mountain. The whole temple was entirely carved out of a mountain. It wasn't built. They removed the mountain and created this insane, like very symmetrical, incredibly...
That's not India, by the way. That's Indonesia. Candi Borobudur.
Intricate temple. It doesn't show any chisel marks on it. It's like hundreds of millions of tons of rocks have been removed. That thing. Bro, have you ever seen that?
No, I have not
Dude, I
seen
watched
that.
a whole YouTube documentary on it last night. What is it called again? Kalisa Temple. Dude, it's bananas.
Wow.
So they think it was made, it says 6,000 years
So
ago?
it's chiseled out of rock.
8th century is what I was just reading before I...
Yeah, I thought it was like much more recent.
That's
it's like,
tough.
It's like they think it's 2,000 years old, right? Is that what they think it is? Well, how old do they think? Okay, 756 to 777 current era. So that's like the year 773. So it's even less than 2,000 years old.
Yeah.
So they think. I don't know how they know this, but whatever they know, whoever did, how, whoever 2,000 years ago made this. See if you can, Jamie. See if you can find a video on it where they can they describe it or they go through it. Dude, it's nuts. The video I was watching last night on YouTube, my jaw was open. I was like, this is crazy.
Wow.
It's so detailed. And when you think about just the sheer effort of making this, and if one person this up, this whole project's ruined because you're not building it. You're carving it out of the mountain. You can't recarve. And they did it perfectly. It's nuts,
laser.
It's really, truly nuts.
You got to plan ahead with that.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
But how did they do it so well? I mean, how is it so beautiful? How is it so symmetrical? How did they, who asked for this to be built? How long did it take? This is nuts, man. This whole thing it's so impressive. It's so impressive. Almost more impressive than some of the stuff from ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
Because it's all one piece of stone. The whole thing.
I like Theo, but these questions are beyond his comprehensions.
Have y'all heard of barrel children? These are the children that's left behind in their countries while their parents migrate to other countries, leaving these children to be raised by family members, grandparents, and sometimes even their neighbors. This terms come from the Windrush generation. So after World War II, the UK was devastated. It was destroyed, basically. And you had a lot of Caribbean people go to the UK to help reconstruct the UK. So these people will be gone for like 14 years. Haven't seen their children in 14 years. So every time a holiday come around, they'll drop off a barrel. Like they'll ship a barrel back to these children in Jamaica, back to these children in Trinidad and Tobago. But these children grow up with psychological and trauma issues because all this trauma is never addressed, right? You can't barrel your way out of trauma. Their children never called anybody mother or anybody father because their parents are gone, right? And this still goes on to today. Even though that happened in 1948, immigrant parents still practice this till today. You have your kids depending on grandma over there trying to produce some breast milk, right, for the kids because their mother gone. Like she's serving a prison bed or something. This is not like your average, hey, mom, can you watch the kids while I go out clubbing? I have a dude's night out or, to the women, while I have a girl's night out. No, this is like I'm going to November. And it still happened till today. That's crazy. How could you leave your own flesh of flesh, blood of blood for 15 years? And then you build in somebody else's country. So if you could build somebody else's country, that means you could reconstruct.
You will have heard of the Windrush generation. The thousands of people who travelled from Caribbean countries to Britain after the Second World War to help rebuild the so-called mother country. But you may not know as much about the experiences of the children who were left behind. Known as barrel children, they grew up with extended family members, and in many cases only knew of their parents through anecdotal accounts and the care packages sent back in the form of parcels and barrels.
And I'll never forget when I came off that plane and my sister said, "There's your mom." I said, "I don't know who's this woman. I don't know. I didn't know." And my mother cried.
We only had photographs of Mum when she was in Jamaica. We didn't have any photographs since she came here. So the person we saw in that photograph wasn't the person that was there.
I met this woman who I have not seen for 14 years or 14 and a half years, whatever. I've never said mother to anyone. I've never said mom to anyone.
My mom has been living abroad from I was like 3 years old.
Barrel children are children who are waiting to rejoin their parents in the metropole. They receive material goods in the form of shoes, clothing, food, but they lack the emotional nurturance that they need.
The name comes from the shipping containers used to send those goods back home.
Living in Brooklyn, I have a lot of friends who were parents of barrel children, and some were barrel children themselves, and I was, over the years, observing, watching, listening, what was happening with, especially mother-daughter relationship. And the first thing that would come out of the child's mouth is, "You're not my mother. You can't tell me what to do." Situation that's deteriorated from there.
Wow, that is sad. 15 years is a long time. Wow.
Oh, it's rabbit hole time. Part 8. We're going to go into the questions that nobody is brave enough to ask. Like, why did the Oversoul create the simulation in the first place? What is an NPC really, and how do you spot one? And what actually happens when we jump timelines all together? And before you roll your eyes and scroll, yes, I have the scientific receipts to back this up. All right, let's go. All right, so why did the Oversoul create the simulation in the first place? From a metaphysics standpoint, the simulation is not a prison. It is a consciousness training playground designed by the Oversoul to experience itself through limitation. Here's the science that proves that this isn't such a far-fetched idea. Consciousness needs constraint to grow. Neuroscientists like Carl Friston discovered the free energy principle. This shows that systems can't evolve intelligence without a rule set or limitations. A simulation provides structure so the Oversoul can expand. Physicists like John Archibald Wheeler and Edward Fredkin argue that the universe, or the simulation, behaves like an informational system. Translation: the Oversoul created a self-running informational reality to explore infinite versions of itself. Ingenious. In psychology, we have split identity exploration, also called self-modeling, is the ability of a system to experience multiple versions of itself. And this creates complexity, creativity, and evolution. So the Oversoul is the master self-modeling consciousness, and you are one of its experiential branches. So based on all this research, the simulation was created as an evolutionary gym for consciousness, not a trap. And how do you know when somebody is an NPC? NPC doesn't necessarily mean soulless, but they are non-awakened souls. They are running at baseline programming, running on minimal free will unless they are triggered awake. Here's where the science hits. We have neural complexity. Consciousness research measure awareness through neural integration and complexity. Low complexity equals scripted, predictable behavior. High complexity is self-directed, non-linear thinking. Then we have behavioral loops. NPC-like individuals show no self-reflection, zero curiosity, repetitive conversational scripts. They cannot discuss anything out of their programmed worldview. And here's the real giveaway. NPCs have no timeline elasticity. Player characters like you and I feel timeline shifts, experience deja vu spikes, those synchronicities, Mandela effects. NPC-coded consciousness does not. Bottom line, NPCs are the consciousness running on the default code, and the players are the consciousness generating the reality. None of this is meant to be insulting, it's just the hierarchies of awakening in the larger scope of the simulation. Because just like in a game or a movie, it would be lacking if there were no background characters. And what really happens when humanity jumps timelines altogether? This is where we go full body chills, those massive timeline jumps that shift our entire reality. When enough player consciousnesses shift states of consciousness all at once, the entire probability field of reality reorganizes. And physics has explanations for this. First, we have quantum phase transitions. In condensed matter physics, when enough nodes in a system changes state, the entire system snaps into a new configuration. Consciousness works the same way. Then we have coherence fields. The HeartMath Institute has repeatedly demonstrated that synchronized emotional states create shared electromagnetic coherence. When millions of humans shift a belief, an emotion, an expectation, the unified field reorganizes around that. And then this is projected through the sun and reflected in the Schumann resonance. And then we still have morphic resonance, which shows that species and societies jump into a new behavioral pattern when we reach critical mass. I know you've heard that term before. In other words, reality updates its template. During a collective jump, obsolete timelines collapse, NPCs snap into new scripts, awakened individuals retain their memories, hence Mandela effects, and reality stabilizes around the highest sustainable probability. This is why you feel timeline jumps and other people can act like absolutely nothing happened. They were updated. You were transitioned. Okay, are you still here? Because this was the longest one yet. If you're still here, comment, I am a master. Because whoo! And if you think you want part 9, where we're going to go into how your consciousness chooses the version of Earth you will shift to next, and I promise you, the science behind this is going to blow your mind and this algorithm. Comment part 9. Activation complete.
I'm not the master. I'm the architect.
Legend has it that after the resurrection, Jesus didn't ascend to heaven. Instead, he stayed on Earth for 11 more years, teaching his disciples advanced Gnostic cosmology, the secrets of the light realms, and how to bypass the archons after death. And it turns out that it was all recorded in a banned text called the Pistis Sophia. And this is one of the most important Gnostic scriptures ever discovered. And not only that, but it's completely unlike the canonical Gospels. This isn't parables and miracles, rather it's Jesus as a cosmic teacher revealing the hidden structure of reality. Now the text opens with Jesus sitting on the Mount of Olives surrounded by his disciples, including Mary Magdalene, who dominates this dialogue. Now Jesus has just returned from the highest light realms and is now glowing with supernatural radiance that terrifies everyone. And for 11 years after his resurrection, Jesus teaches them daily, not about faith or salvation through their belief. He's teaching practical metaphysics, how the universe is structured and how souls navigate the afterlife. He even teaches what powers control each realm and how to defeat them. Now the title Pistis Sophia means faith, wisdom, and it refers to a divine feminine being, an eon who fell from the light realms and needs to be rescued. Her story is the central teaching of the text. Here's the cosmology. Above the material world are multiple layers of light realms, the treasury of light, the 13th eon, the 12 eons below that, and the firmament controlled by the archons. Pistis Sophia is an eon, a divine emanation who dwells in the 13th realm. But Pistis Sophia makes a mistake. She sees a light below her and thinks it's from the highest god. She descends toward it, leaving her realm. But the light is actually a trap that was set by Othdates, a rebellious archon, and when she descends, the archons attack her, drain her light, and drag her down toward the chaos. Safe to say, she's trapped in the lower realms. Surrounded by archons who mock her and steal her power, she cries out 13 repentances, prayers begging the highest light to rescue her from the darkness she fell into through ignorance. Now Jesus explains in the text that he was sent to rescue her. He descended through all the realms, gathered her light back from the archons, restored her power, and brought her back to the 13th eon. And this story is the central myth. The divine feminine trapped in matter, rescued by the divine masculine light. But here's what makes Pistis Sophia radical for Gnostic teaching. Jesus gives extremely detailed instructions on how to navigate the afterlife. Want more? He describes the exact gatekeepers and rulers you'll encounter when you die. Each realm has specific archons that are guarding it, and they'll try to trap your soul, recycle you back into incarnation, and keep you from ascending to the light. But Jesus teaches the mysteries, secret names, passwords, and seals that you must know to get past each guardian. And if you know the mystery of the 5th realm, you can pass the 5th archon. And if you know the name of the ruler of the firmament, he has to let you through. This is practical eschatology. In other words, it's a manual for soul navigation after death. It's what Gnostics meant by gnosis, not just knowing that you're divine, but knowing the specific information needed to escape the prison of reincarnation. Now, Mary Magdalene asked most of the questions. 39 out of the 46 exactly in the text come from her, and she's portrayed as the primary disciple, the one who truly understands the mysteries better than anyone else. Now, Jesus praises her repeatedly, calling her, Mary, thou blessed one, whom I will perfect in all mysteries of the height. The other disciples get jealous. Peter complains that Mary talks too much and takes up all the teaching time, but Jesus defends her, saying that she has the right to speak because she understands. And this elevation of Mary Magdalene is classic Gnostic Christianity. Women as spiritual equals or superiors, receiving hidden teaching and understanding mysteries that the male disciples can't grasp. The canonical Gospels suppressed this, and the Pistis Sophia preserved it. The texts also contain hymns, invocations, and detailed descriptions of the light realms. Jesus describes the treasury of light where perfected souls dwell. He also describes the 12 saviors who guard the gates, the triple-powered God, the invisible God, and layer after layer of cosmic hierarchy. It's a little overwhelming. Names and titles and realms stacked on realms, but the point is showing that reality is vastly more complex than the simple heaven and earth duality of Orthodox teaching, that there are degrees of ascension, stages of initiation, and levels of light to be achieved. And Western esotericism absorbed all of the Pistis Sophia's structure. The idea of graduated realms, of gatekeepers requiring passwords, and of secret names granting passage all show up in Golden Dawn pathworking, Rosicrucian initiations, and Masonic degree systems. Now, the rescue of Sophia also became central to esoteric thought. Carl Jung interpreted her as the anima, or the trapped feminine aspect of the psyche that needs to be integrated. Now, Gnostic revival movements see her as the divine feminine exiled in matter, and spiritual work as her rescue and restoration. Now, the Pistis Sophia wasn't discovered until 1773, and it wasn't translated into English until the late 1800s, so that means for over 1,000 years this teaching was completely lost. And when it resurfaced, it became foundational to modern Gnostic movements and Western esoteric understanding of Gnostic cosmology. So, yeah, Pistis Sophia isn't just an obscure Gnostic text. It's a complete initiatory manual showing the structure of reality, the path of ascension after death, and the rescue of the divine feminine from the prison of matter, all taught by Jesus across 11 years of advanced secret teaching. So if you want to learn more about Gnostic Christianity and esoteric texts, make sure to like the video, let me know what you think about the Pistis Sophia in the comments below, and follow for more deep dives like this. Till next time.
I don't think so. This is confusion. Somebody call West Half.
Lucifer was a beautiful covering cherub, and his design before the fall was to really minister to God. He walked upon the stones of fire. It was a beautiful place. And not only did he craft music, but he built places of worship, and the angels highly respected him. I'll just say angels because it's easier. They weren't called angels then, but the angels respected him because he taught them how to worship, taught them how to play music, taught them how to be creative. And so a lot of the singing that we see, it was taught to them by I'll say Lucifer just to make it easier, by Lucifer. But at the moment when he was walking inside God's heart, he saw something. He saw a dream in the Father's heart where he was thinking of us. When he says, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. There was a moment where God was thinking of children, thinking of having his own offspring. Now, the Elohim were created, so you could say he had people likened unto him, more like him, and authority and rulership, those kind of things. But he wanted something that was direct from him, like children, and the things that he would give them, the inheritance, the promises, the love he would give them. And Lucifer got extremely jealous. And there was a point where he was pacing, because he could go in and outside God's heart. You can go inside God's heart. It's an entire different world or realm. But he would move outside of God's heart, and he would pace in the heavens. He would go to this place in this dark cave, and he would pace. He'd say, I am more beautiful than them. Why? I created temples. I have stones fashioned into me. Why? I create sounds that they will never make. I talk to the stars. I shine brighter than the stars, the highest of the stars, which is like this council in the stars in the heavenly realms. I shine brighter than them. Why? He would say those things. And at the time, you would see darkness swell up in the cave, and it looked like it would touch him. Lucifer would get curious, and he would touch the darkness, and it would attach itself like sticky, like a glove, and then he would take his hand off of it, and then he would continue his normal things. But there was a moment where he made the angels go insane. And I'm jumping around here because there's parts that I still have yet to process. This happened 10 years ago, so I'm still processing things, but I'm starting with the lighter stuff so I don't end up crying. But there was a part where when he was so deep into this process, he used his music to cause insanity. He grabbed a lyre or some type of guitar kind of thing and started playing in these beautiful fields. And he started playing, and the angels started coming in, because what was happening, what he did before, is he would lead the other angels into worship to the Lord, but he infused it with such himself and darkness that instead he caused this manic among the angels, and their bodies begin to shift and to rip and to tear and to mold and to mutate, and they begin to become that insanity. And Lucifer cackled throughout the realms, and Michael heard this. And then Gabriel, who was more emotional, Gabriel came in and he said, what are you doing? How could you? You are the brightest of us. What are you doing? Why would you do that? What are you doing? And Michael said, he was angry, and he said, you can't be one of us. There was this exchange between them. I hate you. I can't stand you, because there was this darkness that was coming in. The angels were being manipulated by it. And then you could see it coming up, and I'm looking around, and I said, where is Jesus during this time? Where is he? Because he's not up there just like, I don't know what's going on. Aloof. You get to what's going on. And then he started to say towards the end of this exchange, and Jesus comes in and he begins to judge what's happening. And the angels are going crazy. Because the wars that happened, it was an extended period of time. It wasn't just this one and done kind of thing, but the wars that ended up happening amongst the heavens with other spiritual beings. That's how he got his armies and things, is that he went and tried to deceive other spiritual beings. And then the glory comes, and Jesus in his glory begins to push him, Lucifer, away. And the glory was like a hot blue fire coming from Jesus. And Lucifer's holding his hands out to Michael, and he's saying, come with me. Come on, come with me. Come on, come with me. Come with me. It will be good what I do. Come with me. Come with me. You can't trust him. He's a liar. He's a deceiver. Talking to point of Jesus. You can't trust him. Come with me. Walk with me. Walk with me. And Michael says, you're crazy. I can't. You're crazy. You're crazy. And Gabriel was a mess. Gabriel was just a mess. And then Lucifer shouts, walk with me. Just shouts that thing. And he gets blasted out of the, when Jesus, I saw him fall like lightning from heaven. Bam. That glory. Because Lucifer couldn't stay there any longer. And the rift opens up and the angels are falling through. Some of them are weeping, and brothers and sisters of the angels who were connected left. There was this great separation. There was a great mourning going on during that.
The brother and sisters, angels have brother and sisters
time, because imagine like your sibling deciding to leave and you're devastated by that, and Lucifer's falling, and I got caught up in the rift to fall, meaning like I wasn't in a good spot at that time. So I ended up falling down into this great darkness, and I thought I'm screaming and I'm afraid and I'm going to die, and I'm being pulled. I remember the grip of it pulling me, and Eden was with me, and Eden is flying down, and he grabs me and he's pulling me, and we start to fly up, and then the darkness kept pulling us down, and then he looks back at me. He says, look up, Micah. If you look up, I can make it to the top, make it up back into the heavenly realms, because the darkness was pulling. Angels were falling, boom, boom, past me, like light falling past me. And so I'm looking up, and Eden is flying up, and we make it to the top, and I'm saved during that time. And I see the brokenness, and Gabriel's spirit is broken, and Jesus is holding Gabriel's face, because he needed to be healed. The angels need to be healed because of that break, that separation. And I began to respect the angels during that time, even more so, because I understood that they had a sense of feeling, an experience of loss and death. They know what death is like, because to them, their brothers and sisters died that day. But watching Lucifer cry out to Michael, saying, come with me. And Michael said, you're crazy. I can't. No, I can't. No. And so Michael has a real indignation against Lucifer because of that. He's very angry at him for that. And that's why he chose to take the sword. And there were other wars and battles that went on during that time where they had to get the morning star from us. We were left with the morning star. Now Jesus took it, and he's going to give it to us.
Which is why Michael's wings are, I read that.
Yeah.
He was like, no, I don't ever want to forget it.
Never wants to forget it. And so God asked Michael, will you take the sword? Will you pick up the sword and fight for my loved ones? And Michael was all bloody because they fought. All the brothers went up against Uriel, Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel went up against Lucifer and got the morning star. And there was a great battle between that. And then Jesus steps in and grabs it. But Michael needed to heal, because he was bruised and bloodied and all those kind of things. And the Lord asked him, will you take the sword and will you fight for my loved ones? And Michael said yes. And that's when the warrior angels was made during that time, because there were no angels of war. There didn't need to be, but he took it and he started to train the angels how to protect and defend and look after.
I'm with Team Jesus.
I don't care what nobody says. I believe that statues come alive at night. I believe that statues come alive when no one is looking, when no one's paying attention. I believe statues come alive at night because, baby, y'all ever heard about the statue that's in Russia? It's called the Tartarian statue in Russia. Have y'all seen that statue? I want you to take the time out, right? Pause this video, right? I want you to go to Google, go to images, and type in Tartarian statue in Russia. And I want you to zoom in, and I want you to look at the statue, and I want you to see how detailed that statue is. I believe that that statue was petrified. It was frozen in time. Because when you look at that statue, when you look at the way the body is, the way the arms is, when you look at the detail of the robe and how the wind was blowing, when you look at the statue's hair, like it looks like the wind was blowing super heavy, and it looks like the statue was trying to kill something that was attacking her. I can't describe it, but I don't think anyone built that statue. I don't think that statue was built. I think that that statue was frozen in time. Okay? I think it's a petrified statue. I said all that to say this, okay? We've been lied to. We've been lied to. Our history is wrong, okay? We've been lied to so many times that if y'all believe that the way these statues look now, like if you was to walk past a building and you see a statue and it feels real, like the aura of the statue feels real, or you feel some type of energy from the statue, 9 times out of 10, that statue was frozen in time. Because ain't no way in the world, that statue was built. I believe that statue was built, I want to say back in 1960. I might be wrong. I could be wrong. But if you think about it, that wasn't that long ago. I was born in 1988. That statue, I believe, was built, quote unquote, in 1960, around that time. I could be wrong. But I don't think that statue was built. I think that was a giant, and I think it was frozen in time. Can you imagine if these things were to come alive? Can you imagine that? Even though I do believe that they come alive at night. But can you imagine if these things were to actually come alive in front of you? And did y'all see how big that statue is? That's a big ass statue. That statue got to be about at least 490 feet tall. Or maybe 390 feet tall. I could be wrong, but that statue is big as fuck.
Yeah.
Big. I'm just saying. I don't think some of these statues were built. I think that these were giants, and I think that they were frozen in time. I think they were frozen for a reason. And they want to make it seem like they built it. No, they didn't. Y'all stay woke.
I believe trees move and talk.
They had destroyed 3 planets and slaughtered 50 million humans in the star system Lyra. As a result of that, the humans had to scatter throughout the galaxy. And some of them came here. And they settled on 2 planets. They settled on Maldek, which was the 4th planet in line, and on Mars. Of course, the reptilians roamed the galaxy, and they finally got here to our system. They destroyed Maldek. They stripped Mars of much of its atmosphere, and at that point, the Federation decided to send a race of humans here who were originally from Lyra. They were a fierce human race and very advanced. So the Federation says we're going to send them to Earth to confront the reptilians. And supposedly, that was the first human presence on this planet was on Atlantis.
I'll admit, they had us for a few thousand years. The secrets remained hidden for a little while. But now, in the last 7 years, since that one documentary came out, this is from the book of Enoch, by the way, God sent 200 angels down to cut down the giant trees, which there were many, that reached the heavens, which it also says in the Bible, not just the book of Enoch. And they cut down the trees so that the giants and the Nephilim couldn't climb them and escape the fate that God had wanted for them, which was that they were to be drowned because they were a little bit cannibalistic and evil, and he wanted to get rid of them. Of course, they say the Devil's Tower was magma, though. The Devil's Tower, being magma, is one of the biggest geological blunders that the mainstream ever put on people. There's another basalt column structure that's flat at the top, of course, because of erosion and magma, and the wind blew it flat.
Yeah.
It's literally what they say, that the wind blew these mountains flatly, or some geological, the rain, of course, thousands of years. Look at it, man. If you didn't know and you zoomed out macrocosmically, it looks like a tree stump. But it's interesting because traditionally, here's what people say, a petrified axe. I don't know about that. But it's interesting because usually when you cut a tree down, you make a horizontal incision and then a pie. And then you come on the other side of the tree and you cut it in and then it falls. And then the tree stump has a chip out of it. The fact that these are all cut flat, what they do with the tree, which was a silicon-based structure? Like, did they pulverize it? Did they take it away? Did it get turned into what? But interesting nonetheless. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Follow for more. And if you want to hear a deep dive on this, comment the word rumble below and I'll send you a link to my live stream channel.
Wait till you find out there are 200 impact craters on Earth.
Away from that.
Isn't there a video with Kamala? She was at one of the Diddy parties? Isn't she in the background with...
It might have been the difference between Diddy parties and freak offs. Oh my god.
They're giving him shit too because he's sitting in this list.
Oh, the guy from Chappelle's show?
Yeah. And then Dave's there too, and then Russell Simmons too. Oh boy.
But is that at a party or is that just a group of them together?
They were like on a yacht or something like that.
Okay, but that's not the Diddy part.
No, yeah, it's not like they were.
I think.
You think Diddy was rogue or Diddy was like a Epstein type? It's working for somebody.
That's a good question.
Well, it would be a great way
to
compromise celebrities. Yeah.
This is Joe, also connecting the dots. He said Kat was one of the only people brave enough to speak out early. Most stars were at those parties smiling, taking pictures, and pretending everything was normal. Kat was the one saying, nah, something's off here. And right after that, his career suddenly got harder. He got arrested over tiny things, he got banned from events, and the media painted him like he was crazy. That's not an accident. When big names feel threatened, they don't go after you in public. They squeeze you quietly. People stop answering your calls. You lose opportunities, your image gets attacked. Joe seemingly believes that's exactly what happened to Kat after he mentioned Diddy. And the interesting part is, he's not the only person who sounded the alarm on Kat being in danger from speaking up about the horrors of Hollywood. Jaguar Wright has said it got so bad for Kat that he had to wear Kevlar in his own home because the threat to his life was so real.
What is Kevlar?
Want to know what's interesting?
Go ahead.
It's Cat Williams that taught me how to be Jaguar Wright.
Oh, wow. Okay. What was it about him that you kind of say, ooh?
10-10. He was my 30th birthday present.
What?
Almost 17 years ago. I'll never forget when he walked into the club and I was sitting at my table. It's my birthday party. And Special Ed brought him.
Shout out Special.
And me and Ed were celebrating our birthdays that year for the Taurus Affair that we used to do in Miami Beach every year.
There's a man
I like Cat.
in Chicago who claims he's been alive for 900 years. And the terrifying part, he knows things he shouldn't. They call him the Infinite Man. And once you hear his story, you'll understand why even the police refused to write an official report. It started when officers found a homeless man wandering downtown. Old coat, torn shoes, mumbling to himself. But when they tried talking to him, he spoke perfect Middle English. Not modern English, the kind spoken in the 1100s. When they brought him in, he suddenly switched accents. French, then Latin. Then something a linguist later said hasn't been spoken on Earth for hundreds of years. He told them his name was Iman, and that he was born in the year 1134. At first, the officers thought he was confused until he started recounting historical events with impossible accuracy. Battles, kings, floods, even the exact weather conditions on days that historians only partially reconstructed. Then he told them something even stranger. He doesn't live through time, he slides through it. He said every time he dies, he wakes up somewhere else. Different year, different country, different life, same consciousness. Almost like his soul can't stay in one timeline, like it's unstuck. One officer asked how many times it's happened. He said, I don't count anymore, but your world is the noisiest one I've been in. They asked him how he ended up here in 2025. He said he drowned in the 1600s and woke up gasping out on the shore of Lake Michigan just a few months ago. When they pressed him for the details, he said something that made everyone in the room go silent. I don't think I'm the only one sometimes. I see people who recognize me from lives I don't remember. And before they could question him further, he vanished. Not escaped, not ran, just gone. 1 minute he was sitting in the chair, the next the room was empty. Security cameras glitched for exactly 7 seconds. No explanation, no trace. But the officers who interviewed him all described the same feeling, that the moment he disappeared, something in the room felt colder, like a part of history got erased right in front of them. If the Infinite Man was telling the truth, where is he now? And how many lifetimes has he lived since the last time someone saw him? Stay weird.
900 years? And homeless? Oh man.
The government has an absolutely real obsession with the spirit world. Okay, I want to show you guys these videos of how they use MK Ultra to try to tap into people's minds, but then they also tapped into remote viewing or mediums, and the way that they use these mediums proves that they not only believe in the spiritual world, but they oftentimes try to use these spiritual powers in order to do their own will and desires. Okay, I want to show you this video. It gets crazy. And at one point, they've even tried to take an Old Testament object by using remote viewing. Okay, this is crazy. Let's hop into this video, watch it, and react to it. Before we do me a quick favor. Hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm so that this video can reach more people like yourself. I truly appreciate you guys. Let's hop in.
Of MK Ultra.
They were trying to figure out, can we really brainwash people? Can we create Manchurian candidates? Can we split people's personalities? It involved a lot of former Nazi scientists and involved a lot of LSD and dosing people with massive, massive doses of LSD. And it was called Super Spy. These women would lure these men back to the hotel and drug them with LSD. We had like Project Stargate, like the Men Who Stare at Goats movie, and remote viewing and all this other stuff was.
Now, you heard him say remote viewing. Now, when I heard that, I thought that was particularly important. The reason why is because I'm going to show you guys a video of a woman that was on Sean Ryan's podcast that also said that she did remote viewing for the CIA, in which he asked her that if she've ever looked into the cross and Jesus Christ and the resurrection, in which it absolutely spooked her. I did a video on this a while ago, but if you haven't seen that video, I'm going to show it to you. But first, let's finish this one.
Going on. Then they started MK Ultra, which involved a lot of former Nazi scientists and involved a lot of LSD and dosing people with massive, massive doses of LSD and ruining a lot of people's lives in the process. But it was an attempt initially to find some kind of a truth serum. And actually the Navy participated in the biggest one, which was called Project Chatter, which is a sub-project of MK Ultra. And with this guy, he's a professor at, it's in Hamilton, New York. I can't remember the name of the Colgate University. His name's Dr. George Estabrooks. And he and J. Edgar Hoover are collaborating on a plan to use hypnosis to capture and hypnotize a German submarine captain and give him alter identities. And send him back to his fleet in Germany and have him torpedo the entire German fleet inside the harbor.
Wow. You know, they are all afraid we are going to wake up to the Matrix.
Dancing plague of 1518, the day an entire city went mad. Hook 10 sec. In 1518, an entire town in Europe started dancing uncontrollably, not for fun, not for celebration, but as if an invisible force was controlling their bodies, and many of them danced until they died. Script: our story takes place in Strasbourg, a small but busy city on the banks of the Rhine River. It's July. The sun is scorching. People are stressed, hungry, and struggling under heavy taxes and famine. And then, Frau Trophia steps into the street. Nobody knows why. Nobody hears any music. But she begins to dance, not gracefully. Her movements are jerky, wild, and completely out of rhythm. Neighbors stare. Her husband begs her to stop. Nothing works. She dances through the day, into the night, and into the next morning. By the end of the week, 34 people have joined her, all of them dancing as if possessed, sweating, crying, screaming yet unable to stop. Doctors are called.
This is crazy.
Their diagnosis: not sickness, not demons, but hot blood. Their cure: just let them dance it out. So the city builds a stage. They hire musicians. They encourage the dancing. And that's when the deaths begin. People collapse with broken bones, crushed ribs, heart attacks.
Ooh.
Some dance until their feet bleed and their muscles tear, but still cannot stop. Witnesses claim their eyes look dead, like something else had taken over. By August, over 400 people are dancing uncontrollably. Authorities panic. Priests blame curses. Physicians blame stress and starvation. Farmers blame witchcraft. Some even blame a saint who was believed to punish sinners through madness. Suddenly, just as mysteriously as it started, the dancing stops. No explanation, no closure, just a traumatized town and hundreds of funerals. Modern scientists still cannot explain it. Maybe it was contaminated bread, maybe psychological mass hysteria, or maybe something darker pushed an entire city to dance itself into death. CLOSE 10 sec. Over 500 years later, the dancing plague remains one of history's strangest unsolved events. Proof that sometimes the scariest mysteries are the ones humans create themselves.
The dancing plague, folks.
Today, I'm going to be proving with 100% proof that the devil was released in 1776 from his 1,000-year prison and that America was founded on demonic roots. Now, if you don't believe me, just finish the video and you can state your opinion. But obviously, this looks like the exact same thing, and it even has the 7 horns, which represent the sun, and then the light, which represents the light bringer, because the devil is the light bringer. And it has a broken chain because that's when obviously the devil was released. And why is it that the Christian founded country has Roman numerals on the Statue of Liberty? It's because the devil represents Rome, and the beast and Antichrist that have to come already came. Rome was the beast, and the Antichrist everybody's looking for is Nero. He equals 666 in all languages. And then the Bible says that the beast has 7 hills, right, on which Mystery Babylon sits on. And then it also has 7 kings, 5 have fallen, 1 is, and 1 is yet to come. And when he comes, he must remain for a little while. Well, Rome is literally the city of 7 hills, and the 7th king ruled for only 3 months. So quite literally, it's been fulfilled. So if Rome was the beast, why is it that America is now being a new Rome? Is it because the devil was literally released and we have a new world order? It literally said he has favored our undertakings, or providence has favored our beginnings, which means God. And then it says a new order of the ages. So take a good look at this pyramid. Now, can you see what I just showed you? It's okay if you can't, because once you do, you won't unsee it. It's literally a pyramid. The 13 steps and an owl over Washington, D.C. And it's even crazier because when you zoom in up here, the eye of providence is right there. So basically, there's an owl, which shows up on the dollar as well. And we all know who the owl represents. And the owl also represents the God that they worship. Because why do our presidents and elites and celebrities all sacrifice to an owl in the middle of Bohemian Grove? Does that make sense? And at the top of the pyramid is the Capitol building, and there's the dome. Well, on that dome, there's this gorgeous painting of George Washington and Roman gods. We have this goddess of liberty, and then you have George Washington being represented as Zeus, which, like, that's ridiculous. And the Capitol building comes for this word, which means temple, and it's derived from the temple of Jupiter, and Jupiter is just another representation of Zeus. So George Washington on his right has the goddess Liberty, and on his left has the goddess Victory. And Victory is always seen with Zeus because Victory is the daughter of Zeus. So very clearly, he is representing Zeus. And on top of the dome is a statue of Lady Liberty, the goddess, which she is now holding a statue of 13 stripes and 13 stars, which represent the 13 bloodlines and the 13 colonies. And if you don't think that bloodlines actually control the world, then just remember that literally except 1 or 2 presidents are all related to the same ancestor. So even Obama, by the way. So we don't vote. They give us they give us our leaders, which is the reason why it's a new world order, which is why the Illuminati was founded when it was, which is why America and the rest of the world had to fight for its freedom. Freedom from what? Kings. What king? Jesus Christ. That was the king that they were fighting from. And why is it that our dollar can make these reptile looking beings? And if you look very closely at the words right here, it says that word I can't pronounce, but it says one of many. Is it literally telling us there's one of many reptiles? I don't want to dive into the rabbit hole, but like, you guys let me know what I'm supposed to do with that, because what does that even mean? And legally, right, you're not allowed in DC to build taller than the obelisk, the Egyptian obelisk, a pagan symbol, right? Which yet again, we were a Christian country, so how does that work? And isn't it funny that D.C., Washington, claims to sit on 7 hills, just like Rome? Isn't it weird? Right where the Capitol building is, was used to be called Rome. By Francis Pope, by the way. And you know where the biggest obelisk other than Washington, D.C. is? In the Vatican. So all these people are connected. The founding fathers, which by the way is blasphemous, they were all Freemasons. And what were they finding? They were finding these buildings. That's why these buildings are all founded. And the building corner dates, right? They're all replaced and say founded. And that's why these people who supposedly built these buildings lived in wood huts, because they didn't build them, they founded them, which is why you get the word Freemasonry. They found Freemasonry. The Freemasons didn't build these, they founded them, which is ridiculous. That is why you have these Roman-looking buildings in places like Chicago in the late 17 and early 1800s. This is Louisiana in the 1800s. Louisiana, bro. Like, this looks like Venice, Italy. It's because Rome was the whole world. It was the beast. And they founded these buildings in America. And they're now teaching that Columbus didn't even find America. It was already filled with people from various places, and Vikings came here 500 years before Columbus. So obviously, if the Vikings have the same gods as the Romans, and they have the same shipping sails, and they have the same everything, obviously the Vikings were most definitely Roman. Just like Rome wasn't just in Italy. They had different people working for them, just like Jerusalem. And after 1776, the whole world started to find these buildings that were buried, because they were buried when Jesus came. And for 1,000 years, these buildings had no significance to them because they were all used for bad things, like child sacrifice to the Aztec gods, right? But they were building their own things, so they didn't need them. That's why you get secret societies all coming out after 1776, because you cannot you cannot worship the devil during 1,000 years of Jesus, so you had to do it in secret. And that is also
What?
why you get technology all of a sudden coming out after 1776, when supposedly for tens of thousands of years of evolution, humans couldn't figure out how to do it. But we were building things like this and doing things that we can't do today. But hey, technology was invented after 1776. So if you think that the devil is not being worshipped within America and America doesn't represent Rome, let me know what you think.
Okay, so you're telling me Jesus reigned for 1,000 years and didn't know what was going on the same planet he was on? Don't spread misinformation about my Heavenly Father.